Lots of viewers have been asking me, which is better, the Odyssey 11 or the Spider GT? Let's put them head to head and find out. So first off, let's start with the new Odyssey 11. This model has 2-ball technology added into it, and it's new to the line. And what I really like about this is the fact that the contrast of the white and the black line, and also the fact that if you draw a line on your ball with a Sharpie like I do, that line is generally black, so it matches in with this really nicely and works really well when you're trying to match the club head and the ball up. Now first up, to compare the two, I'm just going to hit a number of 30-foot putts and look at the speed control and how consistent it is between the models. Now, if you're heading out and testing new putters, I'd really encourage you to go out and test them on an actual putting surface, which is similar to what you're going to be putting on, and also to make sure you test out some long putts. Lots of people get stuck in just holing out short putts and seeing if a putter works for there, but a lot of the shots you hit on the course are going to be pace putts, so having good speed control is really the most important thing. I actually really like the way this rolls and swings. Pretty good so far. Now, what's really impressive about this is when we look at the TrackMan data, the roll quality is really high and really consistent. So we're looking at about 91 or 92% of that putt being true roll. Now, you're always going to get a little bit at the start where it skids as you hit the golf ball, but having the percentage of true roll up in the 90% is really good in terms of quality of roll, and it's going to really help you have that consistent speed control. So I've got the Spider GT now. Now this is my current gamer, so I'm just going to hit a few putts like we've done with the last one and see how the data compares. Interestingly, this feels a little bit softer off the face, so if that's something you prefer, it's quite good to know that. Now, in terms of roll quality, this is quite interesting because the numbers are pretty similar. 2 of those were at 89 and 1 was at 90%, so around 2% less than we see with the Odyssey, but really not a massive amount of difference, so both are rolling pretty good there. So once you've looked at speed control, a huge factor that's going to affect your putting is how well you can line a putter up. Now, what I really like about this 11 2-ball model is the fact that we have those 2 white dots that match up with the golf ball. So it really helps in terms of centralizing the ball at address and also coming back to impact in the center of the club face. I also really like the way that line contrasts. So if you're someone like me who likes to lose a line on your golf ball, it's really easy to match that up very well. Now overall, when you're testing something for alignment, I would really recommend going and testing the putter out on a few different breaks and different directions to the hole so you can test out if it's working well for you, because sometimes something that you might line up well on the straight putt won't necessarily work on a left to right or a right to left. And obviously we get huge amounts of different putts on the golf course, so it's really key that you test all those different options out. This seems to be working pretty nicely for me so far. Now, the advantage in terms of alignment with the Spider GT is you can actually personalize these online. So you can use the My Spider GT program and pick what you want the top of the club head to look like. So do you want a line? Do you want a dot? There's loads of different options, and you can also pick the colorways. So you can see here I've gone for a black line that matches in with that black line I use on the golf ball because I really visually like that for alignment. So in terms of getting something that suits you, that's a really great option because you can find the putter head that you like and then dial in the top of the club head. Now, I also really like the fact that I've got such a bold contrasting colour here. I think it really helps in terms of that visual over the ball, and again helps with your alignment. If red's not for you, there are loads of different options on the website so you can find something that suits your eye. The colour options don't stop with the top of the club either. You can also match in the club face, which I like behind the ball because it really matches in with the top of the club head, so I don't find it distracting. There's really just this line and the front line of the club to look at, which really keeps that alignment visual simple. Now in terms of shaping, there's not a drastic difference between the two of these, but then you can see the weights are in slightly different placing. So on the GT we've got a lot more on the edges, whereas this we've got some on the front as well as on the edges. So this is going to kind of affect that roll that we were seeing earlier. Having more at the front is going to help you get more forward and true roll. So if you're someone who struggles with getting a good forward roll, that might help you out a little bit more. But also because there's so much on the edges, this is going to help in terms of forgiveness. So it's worth considering that when you're picking between different models. Now for me with this, I can feel there is a lot more weight to the head, and I think on your off-center strikes, that's going to help you a little bit more with that forgiveness. So if you struggle with that centerness of strike and want something that's going to consistently roll out, even if you don't quite catch the ball right out the middle, I think this model would probably help you the most. I've been super impressed with how consistent the roll's been with this. Now we still have a decent amount of perimeter weight in this, but I would say it feels a little bit lighter than the other model. What I like about this though is behind the ball it looks smaller. So for me, I feel like it makes me more precise. It's almost like it minimizes my errors. So there's kind of two extremes here. If you want something that's going to help you out on those bad shots, I think the Odyssey will give you more forgiveness. But if you want something that's overall going to make you a little bit better of a putter and make you strike it out more out of the middle, I think this is going to narrow your focus a bit more and help with that. Now I would say because of the difference in weight in here, you do have to give the Spider GT a bit more of a hit. So potentially if you're someone who leaves putts short a lot, the Odyssey might work out better for you. Or if you're someone who hits them past a lot, maybe the Spider GT is going to help you more. 5-foot putting is so important. If you miss one, you're nearly losing a shot on the field. So it's worth testing out the putters from this range. Now here you just want something that's confidence inspiring and that you feel you can line up well. And I really think the Odyssey ticks some boxes with that. I just think the 2-ball option makes this so easy to line up and gives you a great visual if you're not someone who's really tied into using a line all the time. Now, typically I will use the line for short putts, but then the balls for longer putts. So having that different option and something to free you up on those longer putts is also really nice. Now, although I really like the way this looks and lines up behind the ball, it is in a short neck bend, which doesn't necessarily suit my stroke in terms of start direction. So if you find a model like this you like, make sure you get the right neck bend. There are different options available in this, so if you do love this head, you can get other necks in it as well. Now, I think in terms of short putting, this one has to take the prize. I just love the contrast and the way it's simple behind the ball, and it really allows me to focus in on my line and then just hit the putt. Now I've been using this putter out on the course for a few weeks now, and my short putting is where I've noticed a big improvement. I just feel like the simplicity of the club head and the way the colours match in really helped me line up effectively. So I think in this category, the Spider GT is going to have to win. Overall, it's pretty hard to pick a winner here, and I think the two are impressive in different ways. For me, this is a much more tour-inspired model, which I think would suit your lower handicap golfers more. Whereas with the 11 2-ball, I feel like it's got much more forgiveness and really helps out those people who need more help with their putting. Both of these are really impressive in terms of that true roll and the consistency of roll. So for speed control point of view, they're really going to work for lots of people. But I think the thing to dial in is which visual you prefer the look of and which helps you out most on the golf course. That's going to change for everyone. But to be honest, both of these are really solid picks, which I would be happy to use out on the golf course.